we have a 3 out of 5 enhanced risk of severe weather today for Kansas. This is just to the west of Wichita and just the east of Dodge City. This will be all the way from the top of Kansas to the bottom. This will be with a wind threat where we have a 30% damaging wind threat with a hatch, which basically means, I forget what it is, but it's like 75 plus mile an hour winds are possible. And then we have a 15% wind threat going all the way up into South Dakota and all the way down into some of Oklahoma, and then a 5% all the way down into Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, Colorado, and Omaha, Nebraska. So, but then we also have a 15% hail threat, pretty well highlighting the same areas. Then we have a 2% tornado threat all the way from parts of Colorado to a little bit of Oklahoma to on up into a little bit of South Dakota. But then we have a 2% hatch, which basically means EF2 plus tornadoes are possible. Then we have a 5% hatch, which means the same thing, but it's a 5% chance. Back up over here in Nebraska and Kansas. I would not be surprised if we saw this, at least this 2% get extended a little bit more like this. I was noticing we did have some storms on one of the models formed back up over here. We did have a little bit of unfavorable environment, but overall it won't be too crazy of like a tornado day, mostly a wind day. But I do think if we get some storms latch onto a boundary, I do think we could see some isolated tornadoes, possibly even on the stronger side. But again, that is a big if on that. So as we go out throughout the day, we could start seeing storms fire around 3 o'clock. They'll move off. We'll have some storms fire back up in here. And then they'll push off, and then here's where we'll have our big wind threat. So we'll only have a few hours of potentially isolated supercells. Again, like I said, they may not stay isolated very long. They could stay isolated for long. That's a very big factor right now. Like I said, one of the models had some storms firing. I think this may be the model run that had it. We had some storms firing back up over here. If they could latch on, I think we could definitely see a couple of tornadoes for sure. I would not be surprised if they moved 5% down up over here, and then maybe extend this 2% like right here, somewhere out, a little bit further out in the next outlook. But again, that's what we're dealing with. But we also have tropical news where we have a day 7, 80% in the next 7 days of tropical development out up over here. This is out in the middle of nowhere. Only thing that this really would be threatening would be Hawaii, which that's a big if it would threaten it. And then there's some models been showing a tropical disturbance somewhere up over in here, somewhere around the 10th. I know a lot of people have been posting just like one model run where it showed like a category 4. Just don't believe it. I would say chance of seeing a tropical disturbance sometime around the time frame, I'd say that's about a 15%, but I would only say seeing a true hurricane would be probably 5% right now. I'm not saying it can't happen, but we are way too far out to say, oh yeah, we're going to have a hurricane or we're going to have a tropical storm. I really, like, as far out as we are, I think it's a little too far out to even say we would have a tropical disturbance. But like I said, I've seen a lot of people just post junk online saying, "Oh, we're gonna have a hurricane in the next few days." But with that, that'll be it for this forecast video. If you like, be sure to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.